So really, ain't nothing in this integration. I need some land. I need some jobs. My people need jobs. We need something so we can build and do for ourselves, and we must have some land. Now, what's your suggestion? What should be my movement? Integrate?
Yeah, equal rights in a mixed society.
In this society, where you still own the government, you still own the train station, the railroad plant, the lecture plant, these television cameras, you still make all the food, you control everything, and I'm like a leech on a dog's back. All I can do is just wait for you. I can't do nothing for myself. Integrating in your society don't mean I'm doing nothing for myself. You doing it all. I want to do something for myself. I'm tired of depending on you. You might get broke one day. Your stores might close. Your gas pumps might cut off again. I'm relying on you now. Can I have my own land?
Once again, it's on. It's your man, Brian HRap B. Williams. Thank you for tapping in. Hit that like, hit that share. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, again, and again. You already know it's time for you to go to www.enterthebench.com. Watch this live on enterthebench.com or watch it when you watch it on enterthebench.com. People who have been doing it, I greatly appreciate it. The brand is growing. It has been strengthening. 2025 has been my year. Thank you to Dolores and John. Without Dolores and John, there is no me. Without me, you'd be doing something else with your valuable time. So your time is appreciated. Today is an interesting topic. We're going to talk about equality. You know, I saw someone on the internet. I'm not going to say his name because I refuse to give him any propaganda because I think he's a relatively negative person. And I don't think he's very well thought out, but he made some solid sense this last week. Now, thank you for tapping in again. And what I want to do, he talked about Dr. King and the flaws he saw in Dr. King. And I referenced it, I think, Monday. He talked about the flaws of Dr. King's thinking. I think that was a half-cocked way of looking at it. I understand he does a lot of things for shock value, but this time he was making a lot of sense. Now, we talk about equality and civil rights, and we want to be equal. The question is, what are we trying to be equal to? What are we trying to be equal to? When Dr. King spoke about equality, he spoke about the opportunities. I need to have an ambulance come get me. I need to be able to go to a hospital and not get killed. Allegedly, from what I understand, he was killed at a hospital not via the bullet. That's another conversation to be had. I need the equal protection under the police. I need equal protection under the law. I think that's the equality he was speaking of, not what we have. It has morphed into. They used his dream and turned it on Black America like a pack of wild dogs, in my personal opinion. I think what has happened to Dr. King's dream, and he was saying, I think we need the ability to. He wasn't saying we won't be whole if we're not adjacent to. He did speak about sitting around with everybody in humanity and being peaceful. But at the end of the day, I think my perception of what Dr. King was saying, especially after reading his book, Community of Chaos, What's Next, Community of Chaos, I believe Dr. King was really speaking, and he was speaking to the opportunities of Black America. Even though later in life, according to the late, great Harry Belafonte, he was saying that he thinks he's led his people into a burning house. Now, the question is, man, what are we trying to be if the latter of the thoughts from this man and Dr. King's delivery was we need to be equal? What exactly are we trying to be equal to? The question is, what are we attempting to be equal to? Let's just look at history. And you know that's my favorite topic. What is equality bring? What does equality bring about, and what does it look like? History shows us that the people who were brought here and created the United States of America were the product of Europe flushing its toilets and sending their dregs of humanity. They flushed out the insane asylums, they flushed out the prisons, and they sent these people over here because they didn't want them around them anymore. So, do you really want to be equal to that? When they got over here in Jamestown, the natives had to help them to remember this last summer 2024. They were saying they're eating the dogs. The Haitians are eating the dogs. Well, they were actually eating each other. They were practicing cannibalism. They have robbed, killed, stolen, lied, broken treaties, and being nothing but degenerate hypocrites. And we are saying we need to be equal to them. What is that to be equal to? The whole academic process is a striving, as a quest for equality. I'm gonna get this degree, and then I'll be able to be right there with them. But what we have to do is stop and realize what we've done in this country. And I'm gonna show you some stuff on the video today. And what we've done is this: we've built the country on our labor, and we've put ourselves in a position to whereas most inventions in the United States of America come from our community. When you talk about machinery, if you're the labor force, you're going to create that simply because it's not beneficial for the manager to make things more efficient. It's beneficial for the worker. If I need to make something simpler so I won't work as hard, that's not benefiting the manager. That's not benefiting. It's benefiting the manager, but that's not what their mind is going towards. Their mind is going towards getting the stuff out. We created things. And again, if you are telling me you want to be equal to the group of people that said you can't read, made it illegal for you to enhance your mind. They had made it illegal for you to, if you invent something, you can't take ownership. They made it illegal for you to be able to walk the earth freely. Is that what you want to be equal to? We, as a community in these United States, we have to stop trying to be equal. Because even when you go to school, you hear about George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin. You hear about Abraham Lincoln. You hear about John F. Kennedy, both Roosevelts, Teddy and Theodore Roosevelt, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You hear about John F. Kennedy. You hear about the righteous righteous. That's all you hear about is what white people have done. And then you look into the Thomas Edison, and he got his stuff from Granville Wood. And then you look at how Ford got this idea from a black man. The automatic transmission comes from us. The stoplight comes from all these things come from us. So exactly what are we trying to be equal to? What we need to do is realize the power that lies inside of us. Because as long as we continue to say, hey, we need equality. No, we need equal opportunity. We need equal protection under the law. We need equal opportunities in the workforce. If that's where you want to go, you need equal opportunity to enhance your mind academically or vocationally or socially. And we don't need the tyranny. And if one of these groups come together and attempt to destroy us, we need equal protection under the law when we destroy them. See, these are things that we need to be striving towards. And these are things that are attempted to be taken away from us. This is why you want to reduce the academic world. This is why you want to reduce all these things. Because if you remove these things from the social lexicon, you know what happens? You know what happens? Then I can keep you as ignorant as possible. Me and my friends will continue to get more rich and more powerful, and we will continue to rule the world. They've even duped you into believing that you are a minority. You are a minority. You know, that's not the truth. You're not a minority. You are part of the global majority. But if you let other people determine who and what you are, that's what you will be. You will never see yourself in your full capacity. Under no circumstances will you see yourself in your fullest capacity. And that's the thing that I want us to understand. I'm doing production in the background. Please forgive me. This is what we're doing right now. This is what we're doing. I mean, this is what we have to do. Excuse me about that disruption and noise. I was downloading something that I forgot to download as I was doing the program. But this is what I want you to understand. You know, you want us to believe that we're going to be struggling and these tariffs are going to hurt us and ruin us. And this is going to really help the United States of America. And then when you find out, I'm going to show you a clip. That's what I was downloading a second ago. I'm going to show you a clip of what was really happening. And this isn't HRap talking. This is the truth talking. Look at this. Look at this. And I'm not even going to leave the screen. I just want to play this for a second. It's only about 8 seconds. It's only about 8 seconds. You wonder if the president of the United States is doing the job to help the country. You have a bunch of people who will follow him like fools. Listen to this.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad. Just, he's a financial.
$9 million. I thought we were in a recession, people. I thought we were in a recession. I thought it was bad right now. But see, you are being led down a rabbit hole of ignorance, and they don't want you to understand what's going on in the United States of America. They don't want you to understand about what's going on in the world. They don't want you to be aware of anything. They want you to live in this bubble of ignorance, live in this bubble that they've created, participate in the foolishness that he wants to perpetrate. And then at that point, you'll stay as ignorant as they need you to be, because now you're arguing about nonsense. You're arguing about race, you're arguing about gender, you're arguing about lifestyle, you're arguing about God, you're arguing about everything besides these people at the top are attempting to unalive us. The people at the top are attempting to suppress us. They're trying to strip us of our rights, and he's trying to be the king of the world. And that's the name of that tune. Jimmy Kimmel and Elon Musk got into it. And then when you look at it online, people are framing it as Jimmy Kimmel looked bad. But the reason I know it wasn't Jimmy Kimmel looking bad, I didn't see the interaction, but I'm assuming that what makes me believe, as I should speak, why I don't think Jimmy Kimmel looked bad, even though I didn't see one word of it, it's been scrubbed from the internet. I couldn't find it on Twitter. I couldn't find it on Instagram. I couldn't find it on TikTok. I can't find it anywhere. I'm looking. You get a verbal transcript of what happened. If you won the debate, if you walked away looking good, why is it? These are egomaniacs. They're megalomaniacs, as a matter of fact. Why is it that I can't find it? Because on your victories, you're going to make sure this is your platform. You're definitely going to assure, make it plain so I can see you make this guy look good. Now, what you have done is put out there, you just don't want the truth. You don't want to debate. You just want to control things. And that's all over the place. Why is that all over the place? I wonder why that is everywhere, and what we really need is nowhere. And those are the things that make you want to think. We don't realize the power that we have. Look, we have a tremendous amount of power. We boycotted Target. Do you understand that Target is on target, no pun intended, on target to have a $4.3 billion loss? I think that's $28 million a day. I mean, $14 million a day. That's $4.3 billion. That's what they're on pace to have at a deficit of $4.3 billion. Explain to me how that's possible from a minority group. See, it's just like the United States versus the world. We make up a very small percentage of the world, but we make up 25% of their economics, because things like Target, things like Burger King and other entities that we assume, Chrysler and IBM, those companies are owned by international forces. So if they're owned by non-American forces and we're purchasing their goods and we're going and shopping with them, how is it that we are the smallest country who has the biggest footprint on the world's economy? And as you see, the president is in cahoots with people who have way more money than us. They have way more money than you dream of on a regular basis. Most of us only dreaming about $15-20 million. How is it that they're making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars on a daily basis? But these are the people. They're liars, they're cheaters, they're deceivers, they're evil, they're wicked, they're destructive, they're oppressive. Yes, they are. And guess what? You want to be equal to that. I'll see, because it's money. Because look, it's amazing how most people in my community, they love God, they love Jesus, they love Allah, they love Jehovah Jireh, they love the Buddha, they love their Buddhist faith, and they are very spiritual people. And one of the first things that you hear permeating through the community on a regular basis, you can't serve two gods, you can't be in love with money. But when we respect people with money, the only reason you respect a lot of people is because of what they have. Elon Musk hasn't put together anything. He didn't design that car. What he did was buy into the company and took over. That's just like in 5 years, You will be able to tell people Elon Musk created Twitter, but he didn't. He owns it. He didn't. See, these are the things we need to be aware of. And look, if we can take $4.3 billion out of Target in 365 days, look at the power that we have. We can no longer have to be equal. We need equal opportunities in regards to academics, vocation, housing, police coverage, legal coverage. Once we have that, we'll be fine. Barack over there in New Jersey, we need to get behind politicians like that. We need to get behind Cory Bookers, the people who are going, Sister Crockett in Texas, and other individuals around this country who you see in action. And then you are going to have to download that 5 calls out. Look, they're attempting to pass this tax bill. And we are, as American citizens, Civics 101, it is a government of the people, by the people. So if you download 5 calls out and start calling once a day, just call about, hey, I don't want that tax bill passed. I don't want my Medicare, Medicaid cut. I don't want my Social Security people. And we start doing that en masse. See, we don't have to go to the State House of protest. We can get right on the phone. I don't like this. I don't like this. And then you can stop all this human trafficking. Yes, it's been human trafficking going on. Oh, man, they grabbing up these people. If you look, man, this is history again. They grabbed up the Ethiopian Jews. They grabbed up the people who are identified. I don't know if it's a colloquialism or insult. If it is, please forgive me. They grabbed up the people who they identify as gypsies. And they grabbed up the Jews in World War II. If you could make a group a bad entity, and it's okay to grab people up and send them to Venezuela, those people are not from Venezuela, just like they did in World War II. They didn't kill all those people in Germany. They sent them to bordering countries. This dude idolizes Adolf Hitler, and he's following his game plan. And if you don't stand up, you will be subjected to this as well. History will always repeat itself. I'm going to show you something right now. This is a little more history. This is history that you should know. Because if you know this, then you'll be aware of this. If you're aware of this, then you won't suffer the consequences of it. This is the history I want you to know for today. I won't play the whole video. I just give you a piece of it, as I always do, and then I'll come back shortly.
No, don't answer straight away. Just give it a thought. What is the collective past of around 50 million African Americans living in the United States today? What connects them together? Well, if you have passed through the educational system, you might have already been brainwashed. You have been told everything began from slavery, and the history ended when slavery ended. That's a very carefully exposed history to ensure African Americans settle at low and whatever they are offered. That's a bitter truth, but everything African Americans get is compared to what they did not have during slavery. Therefore, allowing them to live is considered a favor done to them. But what's the true history of African Americans? What goes even beyond slavery? If you have always wondered how to educate yourself about the history of African Americans, this video is just for you, in which you will learn the forbidden part of Black history. Let's get started.
This is Sundays for Dogs. Sundays is human-grade, air-dried dog food. 90% meat, 10%.
The Black History Archives.
Everyone explaining African Americans' history begins with slavery, forgetting that before that, Africans were striving and prospering in Africa. Long before the arrival of European powers, Africa was home to powerful and sophisticated empires that flourished for centuries. These civilizations were built on extensive trade networks, advanced political systems, and rich cultural traditions, disproving the false narrative that Africa was primitive before European colonization. For instance, the Mali Empire, which lasted from 1235 to the 1600s, became one of the wealthiest empires in history due to its control of gold and salt mines. Mansa Musa, its most famous ruler, is widely regarded as the richest person in history. His legendary pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 displayed Mali's wealth to the world, distributing so much gold that it destabilized the economy of Egypt for years. The city of Timbuktu, a major center of learning under Mali's influence, attracted scholars from across the Muslim world, housing thousands of manuscripts on subjects such as mathematics, astronomy, and law. Similarly, the Songhai Empire, which succeeded Mali, became the largest empire in West Africa, known for its administrative efficiency and military power. Under the leadership of Askia Muhammad I, Songhai expanded its borders and reinforced Timbuktu as a center of intellectual life.
Now, as I was saying, when you allow someone else to tell you who you are, that's what you get. You get, hey, black people are slaves. They come from slaves. No, they don't. They come from greatness. We come from greatness. We can no longer allow ignorance to be a source of pride. Ignorance is permeating throughout the United States of America on a daily basis. You look at the internet, you see people spewing out foolishness and saying, and then I got the right to voice my opinion. Well, that's my opinion. Your opinion does not trump fact. You have a right to say anything besides fire in the crowded room and things like that, but you got the right to voice your opinion. But I would suggest to you, if your opinion isn't stoked in fact or stoked in research, and research isn't going to find what you agree with, going to find things that may make you think and change your way of thinking. Look at the other side of the aisle and say, oh, make sure I'm right. And then look at the people who you are diametrically opposed to and strip down their arguments. If you can't, maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're wrong. Just like if you ask the average person, well, I didn't benefit from slavery. My parents was poor and they came over here. But if your parents, grandparents, or anybody in your family has benefited from the land that was stolen for some black families and they still have possession of that family, then guess what? You part of the problem, not part of the solution. See, what we do is put ourselves in situations to whereas we pretend to, it's called cognitive dissonance, where you can pretend that that's not the issue, but that's actually the very issue that we're fighting against. And nobody wants to assume that. That ignorance allows a megalomaniac like Donald J. Trump to assume office. That adds an egomaniac like Steve Bannon to assume that 10% of the population on the earth can rule the world. Just because you have diction, just because you have a tremendous vocabulary, just because you're dressed to the nines, does not make you intelligent or a righteous individual. But what we've done is allow ignorance of the law, ignorance of the facts, ignorance of what's going on, and our emotionally charged opinions to rule the day. And that's why we suffer so much. Again, why is it that you in Ohio, just for Ohio, let's go with Ohio and Nebraska. Ohio, you had Microsoft about to put $1 billion project into your state. 1,000 jobs, 600 permanent, 540 construction jobs, $100 and some odd $1 million a year in this community, in this one county's economic base. But you allow a guy who's going to put in tariffs that Microsoft said, we're done. We're going to keep the land that y'all gave us. We're going to farm on that land. And until this thing clear up, we're not doing anything. So $100 and some odd $1 million is gone. Annually, $1 billion project is gone. Bam. Nebraska, you knew the people who herd cattle in Nebraska. You guys knew who this guy was. You knew you had a ton of people who are illegal in your camp, working your cattle, herding your cattle, and doing things of that nature. You knew that, but you said, "Hey, it's not gonna hurt me." You didn't think down the road. You didn't look and see around the corner. It's this thing that in the community we have, like, man, I saw that coming a mile away. You should have saw it coming a mile away. Why is it that people in my community want to be adjacent to this dude? Oh man, I haven't seen him do anything racist. Well, let's not be an ass and say because you haven't seen or heard. It's a ton of things. They can create a universe basically constructed about things that you don't know. A whole nother universe could be created just on your ignorance, and mine as well. I'm not saying that I know anything more than you, but when you say, well, I haven't seen it, look, I understand. Again, a lot of us are slaves to that green and white paper. We're slave to going and get things. But why is it that we don't ever take the time to educate our, well, en mass, we have to start taking the time to educate ourselves on these politicians, on the laws that they're attempting to set, and the rules that are in place to protect you. We can't do anything because they're Republicans. No, you can. You can, because the people in DC, the people in your state capital, they are supposed to be the House of Representatives. Who are they representing? They're doing their civic duty. What is their civic duty? To represent the civilians. That's what it is. Representatives. You are supposed to be there speaking on my behalf. But if all of us download the 5 calls out, I don't get any money for the 5 calls out. And we remove this cloak of ignorance from around us and allow ourselves to, again, from the Bible, study to show ourselves worthy. Are you worthy of freedom? Are you worthy of opportunity? Are you worthy of emancipation? Are you worthy of these things? You notice everything that we have done, everything that we're going through, we've gone through already. Do you understand some of the greatest legal minds in America? Pauli Murray, Thurgood Marshall, Mary Ann Carey, let me think, Lily Little, Jonathan Wright, and a million other Black people. They got some of the greatest legal minds in the world, and we have their work to look upon, and we won't even just fall back on it. Why did you learn how to read if you're never going to read? You did it so you could read the credits at the end of the movie. No, you didn't. You did it so you can stop being oppressed. So you can realize the police department is an organization. It's a corporation which has to be bonded. And the sheriff is an elected official. So you control the law. Guess what? If you go out there bond, then corporations, if they're not bonded, they can't act. So go out to their bonds. Look into it. These are the things that we need to be looking into and climbing up that, so we can climb up that ladder of success. We don't have to wear this cloak of ignorance. We don't have to say silly things like, hey man, when we get rich, you can't go back to the neighborhood because you see one person act a complete fool. When you see one group of like 5 or 10 people conduct themselves poorly, we cannot judge our entire community on the few. That's called prejudice. That's what we're fighting against other people. We're going to do it ourselves. See, we allow these people who we respect because they have money. They're ignorant as hell. You notice that people like Damon Wayans and Sinbad were pushed to the back because they were speaking positively. They were speaking from the point of view of God. They were speaking from the point of view of righteousness. And guess what? They got pushed to the back and everybody forgot about them. But the ignorant, loud, uninformed, unincorporated, unimaginative people that listen to all these goofballs today, they are being pushed out in front of us, and they are the beacons of life. Do you know they will tell you how much someone is worth and how much they make before they tell you what they know? That's asinine, because the people who we hold in such esteem, the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the minister Malcolm X, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the most honorable Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, W.B. Du Bois. Well, Frederick Douglass, W.B. Du Bois is not in that group, but these are people who are quote unquote outside of Martin King. They are not educated individuals. They educated themselves. They educated themselves. And education is not sitting in the classroom being programmed. No, education is looking at the world, seeing a problem with the world. Use that Google machine, use this computer that's in your hand, use that so you can look up things that you have a problem with. And then when you look up those things, like for example, the police is a organization, a corporation, not law-abiding, law agency, and then you understand that they can be bonded. So Look into everything. But know one thing for sure, and two things for certain. If you don't voice your disdain with the people who are in DC, in your state capital, no matter where you are, you will suffer the consequences of ignorance. We don't have to live this way. You know, as I close out, I'm going to talk about one of the a poet, a writer, an educator, a social critic. Her name is Bell Hooks. Love is being alone. Love is being alone. And you know what? I'm not going to use this as an individual thing. And I am, you know what? Correction. I'm going to show you how it works for an individual. And then I'm going to show you how it works in mass. Being alone. I spend a lot of time alone. I'm a former latchkey kid. I am very comfortable being alone. I need my partner as well. But being alone, I'm comfortable being alone. And my thoughts in my head, a portion of the day I'm thinking about the stuff that I'm going to say on here. A portion of the day I'm thinking about, hey, man, I got to head out this. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to help my daughter. I got to help my son. I got to help my lady. I got to help my cousins. I got to help my aunts. Yes, but guess what? I'm also comfortable being alone in my thoughts, cooling out, sipping on some adult beverage, maybe, maybe not. I mean, it might just be water and or juice. I'm just comfortable that way. And the reason I'm so comfortable that way, that's why I can love my lady. That's why I can love my sisters. I can love my aunts. I can love my children. I can love their friends. I can love my friends. Because if you can take the time and be comfortable alone, then helping somebody is nothing. Don't allow people to trick you into believing you have to be in a group. That's on the individual level. Now, on a social level, love Black people. Love Black, be comfortable being around Black people. Stop allowing the 10, 11, 50, or 100 ignorant people that you see on TV doing absolute ignorant ass behavior, having ignorant behavior, breaking every law possible. They are not who we are. You have at least 10 friends, and those 10 friends have at least 10 children, and those 10 children have at least 10 friends. So with that, we talking about 100 people just right there. Now, you got 100 people right there. They're living righteously. And then you could have a lawless family. And guess what? They are centered away from the rest of the family. It's almost like a unmetastasized cancer or a tumor. The family will center y'all over there. We're not dealing with that. And then you got hundreds of other relatives who are living the right way. Stop allowing people to tell you, hey, we are ignorant. See, we don't work together. We don't do this. That is participating in a cult of ignorance. We're not that. There are far more of us doing the right thing. I say this all the time. If you want to walk out your home, or if you want to watch the news and see 35 young Black children on TV acting a damn fool, all you have to do is Google young Black people going to college. And you'll see thousands, tens of thousands of them doing. You got HBCUs crawling with Black people. You see how PWIs crawling with. You have city colleges crawling with Black people. You have community colleges crawling with Black people. You walk into a hospital, you see a lot of Black people working. Walk into a Walgreens, a CVS, a lot of Black people working. Walk into a restaurant, a lot of Black people working. Walk into a corporate office, a lot of Black people working. You see attorneys, CNN, MSNBC, you see the grips, you see Black. You ever notice this? People will tell you that we are destructive, but your favorite basketball player, it's about an 85% chance that he's Black. Your favorite musician, and especially if you're from my generation, your favorite musician was Black. Your favorite rapper is probably Black. Your favorite singer is probably Black. How is it that we're doing this? We're inventing things left and right. We're entertaining the hell out of you. You got the best movies. Your favorite, Eddie Murphy is everybody's favorite this, and Jay-Z and Kanye and all these people, they're all Black, Black, Black. But you are told not to trust your brothers. Love is solitude inside of our community and the healing that comes along with that. And I almost forgot to say it today, but I'm going to say it right now. We're going to create this love inside of our community so our great-grandchildren will have a peaceful life. Maybe we can go back to the Mali Empire and the Songhai Empire and the Ghanaians and the Ashantis and the Zulu Nation before colonization. See, this is what we need to be working towards. And until we start working towards that, we'll continue to suffer the consequences. I want to thank you again. Hit that like, hit that share, comment on where you're from, comment on where you're from, and if you enjoyed the show or not, please subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you to the new subscribers. We got 2 new subscribers yesterday. Thank you, man. You are helping to grow the brand. Go to www.theendofthebench.com. Check me out. A lot of people been visiting over there. Respect. Thank you. I got this congested head. Y'all already know I'll be back. The sun will come out tomorrow, and I will be back tomorrow with a haircut this time. Yeah. Oh, well. With that being said, hit that like, hit that share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tap in. This is HRap. I am 1, 2 fingers and 1 word, and y'all know I am.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why